We're going to use some technology tonight. And I love the flat lighting, so this is really good. So, I want to welcome you all here. My name is Teresa Savaryn, and along with my husband and my sons, we're the owners of the Savaryn Estate. And we want to welcome you to this very special evening. We host many, many events and fundraisers. But tonight you're here at this place because of me, because you see, I'm a patient of Dr. Koretz. Tonight you will be amazed at the science and the research and the results of his work, but I will let him tell you about all that. I don't want to go into the long and sordid details of my story, but I will a little bit. I'll tell you that for about 7 years I struggled with recurrent infections of diverticulitis, like one attack every 8 weeks. The usual course of treatment is antibiotics, along with a liquid diet, then a soft diet, then resume your diet. Okay, I'm feeling good. Then 2 days later, bam, I was sick again. I repeated that scenario at least 12 times and had many trips to the ER. The surgeons were not sure they could help. I went to Mayo in Rochester. No, surgery won't help. I went to Mayo in Jacksonville. Here's some more antibiotics, really strong ones. That should do it. But I wasn't getting better. Now, if any of you can guess what might be happening, somewhere along the way I just started to have really bad cases of C. difficile in between the diverticulitis. Now that really frightened me. I was searching for answers everywhere. I read National Institute of Health medical journals. I went everywhere on the internet. I would look for everything I could find. And then I recalled my second oldest son, Victor, a chemical engineer, saying to me at the very beginning of my illness, "Mom, you need to get one of those poop transfers." And of course, I would be willing to do it. I should have paid attention. But I was certain it was my diet that was the problem. It was something I was eating, like wheat. I must be celiac. No, you're not celiac. Are you sure? Probiotics would help. I even ordered probiotics and beets from a celebrity doctor who had it in for vegetables, they were toxic, and plastic, that was toxic. This must be it. While I anxiously awaited my order, I threw out all my plastic Tupperware and all the plastics in my house. My package came. I was expecting to find glistening glass apothecary jars filled with magical probiotics. What I found was cheap white bottles and beets sweetened with stevia. That was not good. Someone once said you can never be too thin or too rich. Not true. You could be too thin. I really felt good as long as I wasn't eating. By now, my diet consisted of rice and eggs and potato chips. A word about potato chips. They actually saved me. Lay's thin for breakfast, Ruffles for lunch, and wait for it, potato chips for dinner. We lost friends. No one would invite us over or go out to dinner with us. I was in despair. My husband, Paul, who was usually so sweet, was frustrated. A doctor himself, all we could do was pray, and we did a lot of it. And it sustained me, and I believe finally brought me to health. Never underestimate that. Finally, one night I was researching on the internet again, dealing with C. diff following a colon resection surgery, which nearly took my life. I made it all the way to the L page of Google search, and there I found a page about research at the University of Minnesota about microbiota transplant. Dr. Koretz had published a paper, and he posted his email address. An email address. It's hard to describe my emotions as I typed that first letter. It was something like a cross between a cry out to a crisis center and speed dating. How could I tell him everything in one letter? I tried. I closed the letter and went to bed thinking nothing would come of it. Then about 2 hours later, bam, he wrote back. Paul, he wrote back. Well, Paul said, that's remarkable because doctors never email their patients. This is to tell you what a truly caring and concerned person Dr. Koretz is. He took back the time to write to a nutcase. I wish that was the end of the story, but it still took a few more episodes and hospitalizations and a lot of frantic emails before it was clear that most of my diverticulitis attacks were probably a recurrent C. difficile infection. This made me a candidate for a transplant. Yes, I have been transplanted. And I'm here to say I'm doing great. No pain, no attacks. I can eat pretty much everything I want. And I had the great benefit of boosting my immune system during this pandemic. I'm amazed by this work, and I want to help the research even more. I told Dr. Kortz I can write a check for his foundation, or I can throw a really big fundraiser that will raise a lot of money, and that's why you are here. And I hope at the end of the presentation, you will realize how valuable these efforts are and be very generous. The Achieving Cures Foundation is committed to this cause, and I'm happy to be a part of it. By the way, I don't know if my donor is here tonight or if I will ever get to meet them, but I just wanted to say thanks for giving a shit. May I present to you Dr. Alexander Kortz.